You wanted the best. You've got the best podcast. The hottest podcast in the world. The Chris Voss Show, the preeminent podcast with guests so smart you may experience serious brain bleed. The CEOs, authors, thought leaders, visionaries, and motivators. Get ready. Strap yourself in. Keep your hands, arms, and legs inside the vehicle at all times, because you're about to go on a monster education roller coaster with your brain. Now, here's your host, Chris Voss.
Hi, folks. Chris Voss here from the ChrisVossShow.com. That makes it official, ladies and gentlemen. When the fat lady sings from the opera bench, that makes it official. Welcome to the big show. For 15 years, we've been bringing you the smartest people in the world. And as always, all we ask is just further share to your family, friends, and relatives. Call them right now. Get on the phone, text them, send them in Snapchat a picture of the Chris Voss Show instead of what you usually send them. I don't know what that means, but send them a thing to go over to iTunes and subscribe to the Chris Voss Show. And if you get a chance, give us a 5-star review over there as well. As always, we're putting out 3 to 4 shows a day, weekday, 15 to 20 shows a week, man. And we are talking to some of the most amazing people. We have another gentleman today we're going to be talking to about your health and all sorts of ways that you can improve the quality of your life. Now, I don't know how many of you out there going, Chris, I don't want to improve the quality of my life. I hate myself, and I'd rather decline the quality of my life rather than improve it. Well, this show's not for you, is it? Is there anybody out there doing that? Probably in some trailer home somewhere. So we have an amazing gentleman in the show right now. People in trailer homes are going, what? Jordan Dunin is on the show with us today. He's the CEO and founder of HatchPath, the marketplace that connects clients and health coaches so you can figure out how to be more healthy, because we all need that. Trust me, I'm 55. I need as much health as I can get. I'd pay for more if I could get it, technically. Jordan is the founder and CEO of HatchPath. It's a certified health, and he's a certified health and life coach. He's a licensed personal trainer and survivor of chronic Lyme disease and traumatic brain injury. We'll be talking about that today as well. His personal journey has fueled his commitment to well-being. Through his coaching, he specializes in helping individuals take control of their lives by addressing the root causes of their challenges. He believes that everyone has the power to lead their lives regardless of circumstances. He's also the visionary behind HatchPath, a technology marketplace connecting clients with vetted health coaches. So yeah, you don't want to take health advice from me. These are vetted health coaches, people, because I'm not a health coach and you don't want my advice on health. With over 200 coaches and growing on his website, they give simple access to personalized support through technology and transformative change. He believes in the power of stories to inspire and educate, aiming to empower listeners to take control of their lives. Welcome to the show, Jordan. How are you?
I am great. Thank you very much for having me, Chris.
Thank you for coming. We really appreciate it. Give us a .io, I think it is, for your website and wherever on the internet you want people to stalk you as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So you can head to HatchPath, HatchPath.io if you're looking for a health coach. But you can just find me on Instagram if you have any questions after the show, which is Jordan Dunin. Pretty sure that would be somewhere.
There you go.
You can see it.
So in your words, give us the 30,000 overview of what HatchPath does.
Absolutely. So to start at the beginning and take it pretty quick, I was in a pretty rough shape in 2016, and I'd broken my neck. I'd compressed fractured my neck in a diving accident by diving off of a dock and hitting the bottom of a lake. And rolling my neck forward. I was told that I needed to fuse my spine. And then in 2017, I was diagnosed with chronic Lyme disease. Wow. So I went from being an elite athlete. I played high-level hockey my whole childhood. Going into university, I was a Dean's List honors student, just trying to do the best I could, to having this life-altering change. And I went into this cycle of depression. I just got to the point where I was suicidal. I'd lost 60 pounds. I spent 4 years in a neck collar. I thought my life was over. I was looking at ways to be a handicapped person. And I found my way back to health through someone that I now know was a coach, someone that gave me the blueprint, someone that walked me through what works, what didn't, cut out the noise, the trial and error, and really gave me a path. So within 8 months of this person helping me out, I was back on my feet. I finished my business degree. I became a licensed personal trainer. Then I became a certified health and life coach and starting helping others. And I realized that there's 100,000 coaches in the world and 80% of them are out of work.
Wow.
And, when I took my certification, I realized that there's so many things they teach us that can help with health, but not how to reach people and help them through business. So I wanted to create a platform where we had trusted and vetted coaches that were at the click of a mouse. So we do all the work for people. We vet all of these coaches in one-to-one interviews through submitting their certifications and this nice little application process they go through. And then they offer all of their services on our marketplace. So we have everything from meditation coaches to sex coaches, nutritionists, mindset coaches, spiritual coaches, and everything in between that can impact your health and wellness on our platform. So that's
there you go. I need a sex coach.
Yeah.
Tell me how to get more of it. No, I'm just kidding. That's a joke, people. So when you say it's a marketplace, is it something where people pay a fee to get into, or
that's a good question. So thank you for bringing that up. So we're 100% free to join. Like you can peruse all of our coaches. You can message them. We actually have free discovery calls. So you can work with a coach for 15 minutes to see if they're right for you for free.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, we monetize through our take rate. So on our platform, we have a transparent take rate with our coaches, which is 20%, and they're free too. So if you're a health coach out there that's tired of paying fees for all of your services, we did an estimate that you're paying over $1,400 a year on subscription fees and that you don't have to pay anymore. So that's another reason that we did this on the coach side. But yeah, that's how we do it.
There you go. And you have all these coaches. I'm looking over the website, and let me page down here if I can get my mouse to work. Nutrition coaches, fitness coaches, mindfulness and spirituality coaches, chronic illness coaches, life and holistic health coaches, and on and on and on. And so people can just go on there, kind of search for maybe some topics that they want some coaching in, and find the coach that they need, right?
Absolutely. And we just implemented a little helpful AI bot that understands our site more than we do. So in the bottom right-hand corner, you can ask it whatever you're struggling with, and based on the information that coaches give it, it will pick the right recommendation for you.
Here, let me put in here more No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Let the call back.
Yeah, you can put whatever you need to. It'll give you a helpful answer.
I think we all need more sex in this world. Maybe if everyone, there's so much war and famine and everyone's unhappy. I think if everyone just had more sex, maybe we'd, with each other preferably, because then two people are happy instead of one. So
yeah, then we might have a population explosion issue to worry about.
Well, we could use some more people too, evidently. Evidently that's kind of going down the tubes, but whatever your thing is. So I can see here they've got reviews as well on here, so you can see the reviews of the coaches that are on your site.
Yeah, absolutely. So not only are they vetted, but you have that social proof element of ratings and reviews. And we're relatively new. So I forgot to mention that we just relaunched 4 weeks ago. So what that means is previously we had a different approach to our marketplace, but now we've made it the simple click of a button. So it's much, much easier to work with somebody.
Looks like you got some programs too, like startup programs, 6 weeks, 12 weeks, 3 month programs. So it's just not like a one-off of like, hey, get an hour with the coach. There's different offerings that are on there.
Yeah, absolutely.
If I'm a coach listening to this out there, I know we have some coaches that are on the program. How do they, what is the potential for them to onboard with you guys, and do they have to have the certification from I don't know how the certifications work, and
Sure.
I think there's a lot of companies that do it. Do they tell us how that would onboard?
So the onboarding process, we do not require certification. 90+% of our coaches have a certification. There's only a few that don't, that are like Reiki or spiritual thought leaders, which are almost uncertifiable. But that being said, is that we do check your certifications, whether you go to like the Integrative School of Nutrition or some other school. But the main thing is the one-to-one interview you have with myself or one of my team members when onboarding. We see if you lead through empathy, what your results are, kind of take us through what you do for coaching, and make sure that you're a right fit for the platform. So the vetting process is more of the interview you'd have with one of our team members than it is of the certification you receive.
There you go. So, you're just not letting anybody go on there,
Yeah, not everybody.
This
Not
is why I'm
everybody.
not a weight loss coach I could probably be an eating coach. Yeah, I could probably do that,
That
but
could be helpful.
no one wants to know how to eat more. It seems like everyone knows how to do that pretty well. And eat bad foods as well. So there you go. Yeah, no one's probably going to hire me for my services there. So anyway, more jokes in the callback of the sex joke. So no one wants my advice on that either. When people, how long have you been doing this site? What made you want to start this business?
Yeah. Well, I started HatchPath about 2 years ago, but our build took about 18 months. We released something that I wasn't quite proud of, and it took us a couple more months to fix it. But I started this out of my own journey for like my pursuit of health and wellness, which, I realized that something was broken. Like I had access to some of the top doctors in the world. I was put on like lifelong medication. I was told I needed multiple surgeries. I needed a new hip at 20 years old. I needed to fuse my spine. My shoulders kept falling out, and it was just a rough road. So I wanted to figure it out. So my main goal is to enable people to be proactive with their healthcare. So the things that you can control through lifestyle changes, through nutrition, mindset, daily habits, and things that you can learn from someone that you can implement to be proactive. So I believe that the prevention is the cure. It may be a longer path, but if you're willing to put in the work on your health, you can have incredible results.
Yeah, it's amazing, what we put on our bodies, how we take care of ourselves. I've learned that after 20 years of putting vodka in my body, that maybe it wasn't a good idea. And at 55, I can feel about every drink I ever took. I think it's not that bad, folks. I dramatize it a little bit, but seriously, stop drinking. That's my advice. When you feel how bad it dehydrates you and everything else, but eating right, I shop at farms now. I do most of my grocery shopping at farms and eat healthy. I'm known to go out and eat, so it's not 100% of the time, but I go to farms. I try and eat healthy. I try and eat fresh live foods all the time. And I try and take care of my gut health. And it makes all the difference in the world. I mean, 1,000%, I think, really.
Yeah, absolutely. And not only like what we put in our body, but the state we're in when we're ingesting food, or the state we're in when we're trying to heal. That all comes back to our thoughts. So that was the biggest thing for me to overcome, was my negative thought cycle. My self-abuse in my brain was very, very chronic. My basically self-hatred. And I think a lot of us suffer from that, is we look at ourselves as not enough, and that can be extremely detrimental.
Yeah. I mean, self-hatred, that's just what we do around Fridays around here.
Yeah.
Now, in your coaching practice, how do you help clients identify the root causes of their issues, distress, and how to create what you call a blueprint for their success?
Absolutely. So with my clients, we're predominantly chronic illness clients, chronic Lyme disease usually. And what we look for is patterns. So most of the people I work with have that, I don't want to call it like a victim mentality, but it's a why me, chronically negative, overcoming themselves and seeing that by being in this negative mindset, I'm putting myself into a chronically stressed state. And no matter what therapies I do, I'm stressed, I'm not healing. So we're addressing where they're at mentally. We look at where they're at physically. Like, what are you doing with your nutrition? We look to go to a whole foods diet, like you said. So live foods, grass-fed meat, organic when we can, eliminating mostly processed foods, and looking at other holistic modalities. Like if you can get in an infrared sauna or meditate or get into cold exposure, and how that looks like along the life cycle of your journey, and understanding that's nonlinear. Like we always are going to go up and down, but making sure it's 2 steps forward instead of 2 steps back.
Yeah. We just interviewed CEO of an infrared IR company, and they sent us a unit, and I've been using it. And it's like so great for pain and muscle issues. And it's just like heaven.
Yeah.
Like I can have a pain, put it on something, and it all goes away. Which, it was either that or lobotomy. So we worked on that. But yeah, there's a lot of modalities that people can take advantage of, and just eating right, taking care of your gut health is so amazing. Now you can't ever beat Lyme disease, right? They haven't figured out a way to beat that yet, right?
I'm here to dispel that.
Okay.
I want to call it a rumor.
Oh,
So I'm open.
that's
to
why I
blood
asked the
work.
question.
I can do blood work. But no, I was told my whole journey by doctors that it was incurable, and that actually affected me quite a lot mentally.
Yeah.
And then I met a practitioner who was pretty out there, who gave me hope. And then working with my coach alongside a great team, it was a long time. It was 8 months to get a little bit better to finish my degree, and then a couple more years to fully rid myself of the illness. But if we were to do a blood draw today, I would have no Lyme disease.
Really?
Yeah.
Holy crap. Well, that's good news. Whoever listens to this show, if you know somebody who has Lyme disease, pass it along. Holy crap. That's just so important. And it speaks to, how we can clean up our bodies and our systems and stuff. The one thing you mentioned was accountability, going from victimhood mode. That it's easy to do when you get sick. It's easy to be like, why me? Why is this happening to me? Oh God, you got to deal with the healthcare industry. That's worse enough as it is. I don't know which is worse, TSA or the healthcare industry. Maybe TSA, because it's kind of short and quick, but and they only feel you up once or twice. So talk to us about accountability and how you get people to switch for victim mode.
I think that accountability, if you're looking at coaching for one reason, you don't know what it is, it's accountability. We are so limited in our accountability to ourselves. I think it's just our human condition. We have our New Year's resolutions, or the things that come when we hit our rock bottom, and it's really, really hard to hold yourself accountable. It is. It's hard to eat healthy. It's hard to get out of a chronically negative state. It's hard to go into cold exposure or do things that are uncomfortable. But it's a lot easier when you have someone that is waiting for you to tell them that you did it, or that's guiding you in the right direction. So that's why people hire personal trainers. That's why, CEOs hire coaches as well, executive coaches. I have one myself. The accountability is there, and it's incredible, just as it is for a CEO or an athlete, as it is for you, for your health.
Yeah, accountability partners and advisors. When I wrote my book, I had an accountability team that we were on. We were all trying to write books, so we had an accountability group. Just makes all the difference in the world, because between competition and someone is going to call you up and yank your chain and be like, "Hey, did you stay on your goals there, eh?" And you're like, "Oh God, I'm gonna have to lie again." So. Which is what I do to my therapist, which is why I'm still in therapy and have been for 20 years. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. And we can address the difference between coaching and therapy too.
Oh, let's do that.
Yeah, totally. So like the simplest way I can do it is that therapy is addressing past trauma in order to move forward, where coaching is moving forward with a clear blueprint to achieve your goals. So coaching, we're not addressing any past trauma. You don't
want to know why my mother didn't love me or hug me enough.
There's a clear place for that, and that's in therapy. And I think that is extremely helpful. But what coaching is for is to set goals, set milestones, achieve them, and move forward, and have an accountability partner.
I like that. There you go. I'm glad you defined that, because I never heard anybody really ever define it. And sometimes I'm just like, are we doing psychology? Are we doing coaching? Or what are we truly doing? And I think that nails it to the wall, because, a coach doesn't want to sit around and be like, what's your issues with your mom? Yeah. Did your dad not hug you enough as a child? Which is, what my psychiatrist says.
And there could be an avenue where that plays a role in your coaching potentially, if it's something that you're not able to move forward, but
maybe a trauma coach or something.
Yeah. Go call your therapist. There's always a place for therapy. I believe in therapy. I believe in the power of therapy. But I think that coaching is incredibly effective.
There you go. So what's your big vision for your site? What do you see? Do you want to expand it to other forms of coaches, or are you going to stay in the health field? What's the big vision?
Yeah, the big vision is horizontal growth. So my goal is to open up the gig economy for coaching. I believe in like a one hand up, one hand down mentality. If you are one step ahead of somebody else, you can pull them forward. So we're looking at tutoring, executive coaching, other modalities and stuff like that. But right now we're doing a corporate wellness move. So we have a corporate company as well where we do events, and actually our platform, our coaches work with employees at different corporations. And we also have our consumer marketplace, which we're talking about today.
Nice. That's good to have, man. And so when you're trying to start your own business like this, what are some things that you ran into? What was some of the biggest challenges or hurdles? Was this your first company you ever started, your first foray into being an entrepreneur?
This is technically my first company. When I was younger, I started like a clothing company, a drop shipping clothing company, very minimal revenue. I don't think you can call it revenue at all. So this is my first real company. And
awesome.
Yeah, thank you. I think that the first thing that people get caught up in is the legal stuff. Like, how do I set up a corporation or a flow-through entity, like an LLC? Like, I'm Canadian and I moved to the States when I founded this company. So I had to learn all about like LLCs, C Corps, S Corps, all that stuff. So we went from an LLC to a C Corp. You don't really, I don't think you need to know that stuff. If you get a great accountant, you can learn. I think the biggest thing is overcoming yourself. Like like if somebody else has done it, I think you can do it too. It's done. So they're not any more special than you are. And overcoming the I am not enough mentality it was the hardest thing when starting my business.
Do you think that's the biggest problem most people have is would you call that imposter syndrome?
Yeah, that's definitely an imposter syndrome where you think that you're playing a role that you're not capable of. So I think that's it. I think you nailed it. There's stuff that comes into play, like making sure that you have the right finances, you have the right people on board, getting your team. But none of that's going to happen if you're believing that you're not good enough, that it's not for you.
Did you prepare to start your own company over the years, or did this just fall into your lap and you're just like, I'm just going to build this whole marketplace out? Like for some people, they just be like, hey, I'm a coach. I got this down. I'm doing enough. But you've decided to kind of spread it out for everybody to get in the business or to get promoted in the business. What made you want to, reach out beyond yourself?
Yeah, I looked at it as like an impact thing. I was seeing that I could only help a dozen, maybe a couple dozen people on my own. And I was getting drained. I was dealing with people that were in my position at one point. Like, I was sick and it was actually extremely difficult. And I still help clients. I still do it. It's still part of my mission, but I wanted to be able to help in a different way. And I knew that there were people that did exactly what I do. Maybe not exactly, a little different, but did it and helped them in an empathetic way. And I was actually in the process of finishing my business degree. I was doing like a little bit of a master's of AI and all this other stuff. And this was my final project. You can call it like a thesis, I guess, was this this marketplace. And then COVID happened at the exact same time and everybody went to Zoom and online, and the market timing was great. And I had a friend who had done very, very well with an online company who connected me with the right developers. So again, like knowing the right people is a great thing. And I'm very, very fortunate that I did, but they ended up not being the right developers. So learning that lesson was a great one. So I've been through a bunch of teams, a ton of teams, and I've found the right people now. And I don't think anything that happened was the wrong thing, but it definitely a lesson that I could help somebody else with too.
How do you make sure that it sounds like you instead of getting bogged down by what you couldn't call the wrong thing, like you said, you've learned to use that as a learning example. Like somebody the other day said, I just failed at YouTube. I tried to do YouTube for a year or two or something, and he posted a bunch of stuff, and I could have told him from the beginning it was going to suck because his content sucked. But and he's like, I'm depressed, I'm drinking, I'm upset. And I'm like, dude, don't get yourself down. You take what you learn some skills and stuff and use them on your future stuff. It's not a total loss. Well, how did you overcome that when you went through some of the challenges of being an entrepreneur? Because you have to go through this. You're constantly having to fix and repair. You're
in a battle, and I'm in a pretty good place mentally. I just had a baby. I have a 12-week-old son.
Oh, congratulations!
Thank you. So we've got a lot going on. We got the business. We're like we're moving.
Sleep is overrated too.
Yeah, totally. Well, I run a health company, so please get to sleep. But there's a balance, right? And when you have good energy, I totally believe the good things happen. And when you got that lower kind of depressed, anxious, overwhelmed energy, things just keep going that way. So I got stuck in a rut recently, probably a couple of weeks ago. It was like a good couple of weeks of negative energy when things kept piling up. And you go through cycles. You realize that it's not the end of the world, and the only way to fail is to quit. So there's always another way. So like if funding ran out tomorrow, maybe the company goes under, maybe I find new funding, but I'm always going to have, the mindset of that something else is going to come from it. So, and I learned through my illness, right? Like my biggest struggle at one point, like I thought I was going to die. I was so suicidal. I had dreams every night of taking my life, and they were dreams. They felt good. And I feel like I'm only saying this because I know people probably are going through the same thing, is that when I came out the other side, that's now my biggest strength. So if you don't struggle, you don't succeed. You can't get to where you're going without pain. And pain is just part of the human condition. So if you look at pain as a stepping stone, you can frame it properly. So I really like framing. So that's when you look at something in a different light. And it's good to pre-frame. And that's why I work with a coach. So we look at all the things that are coming up on my calendar, my executive coach, and we say, okay, so this is something that's big. Like we just had an awesome event for my company over the weekend where we had 40 wellness influencers and we ran this big thing, and I was nervous, but she reminded me that this is what I wanted. This is what has to happen in order, I got, it was like all things piling up, but frame it differently. You can change your whole life through framing.
Yeah, it's interesting. Would you call that the same as perspective? Changing your perspective on different things?
Absolutely. Yeah, a different lens.
How you frame things through a different lens can make all the things. It's sometimes the questions you ask yourself, looking at something, you can look at it through that victim prism, or you can look at it through what are the possibilities here? What can I learn from it? A lot of people, there's the old stories of Thomas Edison and other people, failing 10,000 times to make the light bulb and stuff. But that's kind of what you do. You're kind of like as an entrepreneur, you give me a little bit of epiphany. You're kind of a mad scientist sometimes.
Yeah,
the mad scientist aspect of being an entrepreneur, where you're making all these concoctions and you're drinking them half the time and then turning into Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. But you're always trying to formulaic make things right. I used to always think of it as dialing a safe, where if you can get the right combo, you can unlock it. But maybe a chemist is more the analogy. And people get frustrated when they lose or things don't work out. They're like, okay, well, quit. I saw somebody the other day who was talking about quitting what they were doing, and I was just like, dude, everything in life you have to master.
Yeah,
that's how I look at life. You have to master it. There's no simple answer. There's no simple way to do just about anything. It takes tens of thousands of hours to master something. Nothing is easy. And so you have to work hard at it. And so whatever the task is you're trying to do, you can't quit early. You've just got to master it. You've just got to keep going, keep learning, keep adjusting. Of course, don't be the person who just keeps like, I keep doing the same thing and it doesn't work. If you're trying to put the star in the circle hole in the little thing that we used to have when we were kids, it's never going to work no matter how many times you slap that. And I've met a lot of entrepreneurs, they just do that. They're just like, well, if I just keep doing the same thing over and over again, it might work. And they don't change it. And you're like, no, that's called circling the drain. That's not, that's not reinventing yourself.
It's very true. And I feel like a lot of coaches do that too. And when it comes to, we run master classes every month for our coaches. So that's another thing we do for free. And what we see is that, it's the human condition again. It's repetition of something that's not working in the hopes of it working. And it just doesn't happen. Like when it comes to their business, they'll have a strategy, and since they have a strategy, they'll stick to it. And no matter, they won't change it because the hope is that it'll eventually work. And, I see that when people are working on their health, they'll keep on doing the same thing or their business. But you're right. If you don't change, you don't change. And that's the answer.
Yeah. You got to do things. So give us your final thoughts and pitch to the business. Tell people how they can onboard with you, either if they're a customer or if they're a coach, et cetera, et cetera.
Cool. Yeah. So my final pitch is that I really liked a quote I heard recently. It was, we spend more time planning a 2-week vacation than we do our life. So if you feel like you've spent more time on a vacation than you have planning your life, it's time to work with a coach. Time to grab your accountability partner. It's time to look at your life and say, I want to change this and I need help. Come to HatchPath. We got tons and tons of people who care, and start today. Start for free.
There you go. And you can check it out. You can help find the best person you want. They're either certified or they're vetted, basically. Like you want to make sure that you have somebody who has a pretty good idea what they're going to do or is going to work well with others. That's important as well.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much, Jordan, for coming on the show. We really appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you, Chris.
There you go. Get healthier, folks. Trust me. Don't wait until you're old like me to finally get around to it. It's harder to claw it back than it is to do it right the first time. That's what she said. I don't know what that means. Anyway, guys, thanks for tuning in. Go to goodreads.com/Chris Voss, LinkedIn.com/Chris Voss, YouTube.com/Chris Voss, Chris Voss 1 on the tickety-tockety. Thanks for tuning in. Be good to each other. Stay safe. We'll see you guys next time.